Hausaland, the mystical markets of Kano and the ancient art of Indigo, dives deep into the rich traditions of northern Nigeria, where the indigo-dyed robes of the Hausa people are more than just fabric. They represent an age-old craft that has shaped the culture for centuries. This documentary-style narrative explores the bustling markets of Kano, the heart of Hausaland, and uncovers the magical process behind the indigo dyeing pits that have been kept alive through generations. The story unveils the fascinating world of artisans who still practice the ancient art in a modern era, blending tradition with innovation. The tale is told through the eyes of local artisans, historians, and cultural custodians, offering a captivating mix of history, culture, and the unbroken link to an ancient craft. In the heart of northern Nigeria, where the land meets the vast Sahelian desert, there lies a cultural and economic hub known as Hausaland. At its heart is Kano, one of Africa's oldest and most storied cities. For centuries, Kano has been a key center for trade, culture, and craftsmanship, a crossroads where the threads of ancient traditions and modern life intertwine. The market in Kano is a sensory explosion, a place where everything from spices to intricate leatherworks and textiles are traded. But among the many treasures that fill the stalls of this desert city, one material has stood out for centuries: indigo. The indigo-dyed robes of the Hausa people shimmer under the African sun, their vibrant blue hues a symbol of status, tradition, and craftsmanship. These textiles, known for their beauty and resilience, are woven into the fabric of Hausa culture. The Hausa people have been dyeing textiles with indigo for over 1,000 years. It was more than just a craft. It was a symbol of wealth and prestige. The art of indigo dyeing in Hausaland has roots that stretch back to the very foundations of the city itself. From the medieval period, Kano has been a thriving trade city, a key player in the trans-Saharan trade routes. Traders from across Africa, the Middle East, and even Europe passed through Kano, bringing with them not only goods, but ideas. And from these exchanges, indigo dyeing flourished. The historical significance of indigo is undeniable. In Kano's vibrant markets, it wasn't just about buying and selling. It was about a deeply ingrained tradition that connected people to their past and defined their present. For centuries, the markets of Kano have witnessed the exchange of goods, but there is one product that has never lost its magic: indigo. The fabric, rich in symbolism and history, tells a story of art, science, and alchemy. The magic of indigo lies not only in the fabric it creates, but in the very process of dyeing. Behind every vibrant robe, there is an intricate ritual, a well-kept secret that has been passed down through generations. The true magic happens deep in the dye pits of Kano, where artisans harness the power of the earth and nature to create a color like no other. But to understand the magic of indigo, one must first understand its origins, how it was cultivated, processed, and ultimately woven into the very soul of Hausaland. In the fields surrounding Kano, indigo plants grow in the dry, fertile soil, their rich, green leaves bearing the potential for something extraordinary. For centuries, these plants have been the foundation of one of Africa's most remarkable crafts, the art of indigo dyeing. But the magic doesn't stop in the fields. It's in the way the leaves are transformed into the stunning blue that has captivated generations. Indigo dyeing is an intricate, labor-intensive process that begins with the harvesting of the plant's leaves. The leaves are carefully crushed and then mixed with water to create a paste. The paste is then placed into a large, shallow vat, where the magic truly begins. The air around the vat is thick with the pungent, earthy smell of the indigo, as it reacts with the water to form the signature deep blue dye. This is where the real work begins. The dyeing pits, where the indigo undergoes a complex, almost mystical transformation. The dyeing pits have been in use for centuries, often handed down from one generation to the next. These pits are sacred spaces, believed to carry the energy of the earth and sky. The process of turning the raw indigo leaves into a usable dye is part science, part alchemy. To the untrained eye, it might look like simple immersion, but the artisans know that timing is everything. The cloth is dipped and then pulled out again and again, each dip adding layers of color. The dye doesn't immediately reveal its full strength. The true blue only appears once the fabric is dried and exposed to the air. It's a process that requires patience and precision. The longer the cloth stays in the dye, the deeper and more intense the color. As the fabric dries in the sun, the color deepens, almost as if it is absorbing the very essence of the environment. The dry desert air, the scorching sun, and the vast open landscape. The resulting shade of blue has a richness and depth unlike anything seen in synthetic dyes. It's a color that speaks of history, of nature, and of the careful hands that created it. The craft of indigo dyeing is passed down through families, with each generation adding their own touch, refining the process, but always staying true to the traditional methods. For these artisans, indigo is not just a craft, it's a connection to their ancestors, to the land, and to the spirit of Hausaland itself. I've learned this craft from my grandfather. To me, it's more than a skill. It's a part of my heritage. The indigo we use here comes from the earth. It's a connection to our past, our identity. Every time I dye a piece of fabric, it feels like I'm bringing something ancient back to life. The art of dyeing with indigo is one of the oldest forms of textile production in the world. But for the people of Kano, it is more than just a method for creating beautiful fabric. It's a living tradition, one that has survived the test of time, adapting but never losing its soul. In the heart of Kano, hidden from the bustling markets and noisy streets, lie the indigo dye pits, where the magic of indigo truly unfolds. These ancient pits are more than just workspaces. They are sacred alchemical realms where tradition, nature, and craftsmanship converge. Here, the rich, deep blue fabric begins its transformation, but it's the very space itself that lends the process its mystique. The dye pits are often nestled in secluded corners far from the distractions of the city. They are humble spaces, sunken earth with walls built from locally sourced materials and large vats filled with indigo dye. But there is something ancient about these places, a sense of power that fills the air. For generations, the secrets of the indigo process have been preserved in these sacred pits, passed from artisan to artisan, each one adding their own touch, but respecting the time-honored methods. The dyeing pits themselves hold a quiet reverence. When artisans enter, they don't just start working, they approach the vats with a sense of respect, almost as if they are entering a space of worship. The process of dyeing here is not seen as a mundane task, but as a sacred duty, a ritual that has been handed down through the ages. The pits are often tended by families who have been practicing this craft for generations, and many believe the earth that fills the vats carries the wisdom of their ancestors. There is a belief in Hausaland that the dye pit itself holds mystical properties. Some say it is where the earth and sky meet, where the power of the land is distilled into the fabric. The vats are treated like living things. Rituals are performed before each new batch of dye is prepared. The process of preparing the indigo paste and adding it to the vat is done with great care and precision, as artisans invoke the spirit of the land, asking for a bountiful and successful dyeing season. The air around the pits feels thick, almost alive with energy, as the indigo reacts with the water, transforming into the mesmerizing blue. What makes these dye pits so remarkable is that the magic of indigo doesn't come from industrial processes or mass production. It's born from the intimacy between the artisan and their craft. Every movement is deliberate, every decision calculated, and every interaction with the dye is filled with intention. The indigo paste itself, once mixed with water, begins a delicate fermentation process. It is this transformation that produces the intense, vibrant blue that defines the craft. As the artisans work, their movements are rhythmic, almost meditative, as if they are conducting a dance with the elements. They plunge fabrics into the vats, lifting them out and watching the color change before their eyes. But the full magic of indigo is not visible until the fabric is pulled from the vats and left to dry. Under the sun, the color deepens, becoming richer with each passing hour until the indigo reveals its full depth, a shade of blue that cannot be replicated by any synthetic dye. For many of the artisans, the dye pit is a place where time seems to slow down, where the rest of the world fades away, and all that remains is the fabric, the dye, and the ritual. The dye pit becomes a sanctuary, a place of connection to the land, the ancestors, and the spiritual world. The magic of these pits is also a form of alchemy. The process is seen as both an art and a science, an intricate blend of chemistry, skill, and intuition. The balance of elements in the dye vat is delicate, and even the weather can affect the outcome of the dye. On a hot, dry day, the color may set differently than on a cooler, more humid day. This is why the artisans who work here are often seen as alchemists, experts who can read the subtle signs of the vat and the environment. As the sun sets over the desert, the dye pits of Kano seem to glow as though they are holding the secrets of time itself. It is here, in these mystical spaces, that the legacy of indigo lives on, its magic embedded in every thread of cloth dyed within the pits. In Kano, the art of indigo dyeing is more than just a skill. It's a living legacy passed down through generations. The artisans who tend to the sacred dye pits and weave the intricate fabrics are not simply craftsmen. They are the custodians of a centuries-old tradition. Their lives are intertwined with the indigo they dye, and their hands bear the marks of a practice that has endured through time, change, and challenge. As we walk through the dyeing workshop, we meet Ibrahim, a third-generation indigo artisan whose family has been dyeing textiles in Kano for over 100 years. Ibrahim's hands are steady, his movements practiced. He gently dips a piece of cloth into the dye vat, then lifts it with the precision of a master. His face remains focused, but a hint of pride shines through as he watches the cloth transform from a pale yellow to a vibrant indigo. "I grew up in this workshop, surrounded by the smell of indigo," Ibrahim says, his voice filled with quiet pride. "My grandfather taught me the secrets of the dye, the balance of the earth and the sky. To me, this craft is not just a job, it's part of who I am." For artisans like Ibrahim, the dyeing process is a sacred act, a bond with their ancestors. Each dip of the cloth into the indigo is a continuation of a legacy, a way to honor those who came before. The hands that mix the dye, stir the vats, and weave the fabric have been doing so for centuries, and the knowledge is passed down not just through formal lessons, but through daily practice and shared experience. The apprenticeship begins early. Ibrahim's son, Ali, is already learning the ropes, carrying cloth and helping mix the indigo paste. The young boy's face lights up as he watches the colors emerge from the vats. For him, the dyeing process is a rite of passage, something that will one day be passed on to his own children. "Indigo is in our blood," says Ali, his eyes bright with excitement. "One day I will be able to dye the fabric on my own, and it will be like carrying the torch forward." But the life of an indigo artisan is not without its challenges. The craft, once flourishing and lucrative, now faces pressures from globalization and industrialization. Cheap, mass-produced synthetic dyes have flooded the market, and many young people are leaving traditional crafts behind in favor of modern, more profitable careers. Yet, despite these challenges, the artisans of Kano remain steadfast. They see themselves as guardians of a sacred tradition, and many, like Ibrahim, are determined to keep the craft alive, no matter the odds. "I won't stop doing this," Ibrahim declares. "This is my legacy, my family's legacy. Even if the world changes, the spirit of indigo will remain." Indeed, the artistry of Kano is more than just a craft. It's a form of resistance against the erosion of cultural traditions. The artisans here are actively preserving a way of life that has been threatened by modernity. Many of them are also looking for new ways to adapt the ancient craft to the needs of the contemporary world. Some have begun creating bespoke indigo pieces for international markets, blending the old with the new. Others are turning to social media and digital platforms to share their work with the world, gaining recognition and attracting new customers. It's not just about survival, it's about revitalization. The artisans of Kano are actively breathing new life into indigo dyeing, connecting with younger generations and ensuring the craft endures in a rapidly changing world. For Ibrahim and others like him, the indigo they dye isn't just about fashion or business. It's about ensuring the tradition remains alive for generations to come. "I want the world to see the beauty of what we do here," says Ibrahim. "Indigo is not just a color, it's a story. It tells the story of Kano, of Hausaland, and of our people." The markets of Kano are not only a hub of commerce, but also the lifeblood of Hausaland's economy. Here, the ancient art of indigo dyeing is more than a cultural practice. It is a key contributor to the region's economy, sustaining countless families and providing jobs to artisans, traders, and even middlemen who facilitate the exchange of goods. The intricate indigo textiles crafted in Kano have long been highly prized, not just locally but across the entire region and beyond. These fabrics are sold in markets across Africa, from the Savannah to the Sahel, and even make their way to international buyers in Europe and the Americas. The trade in indigo-dyed textiles has flourished for centuries, with Kano serving as a central node in the global textile trade long before colonialism or modern industry. Even today, the market for indigo fabric is alive and well, with large quantities of these stunning textiles traded in bustling open-air markets, small shops, and online stores. For many artisans, indigo dyeing is the primary source of income. This is especially true for families like Ibrahim's, who depend on the craft to support themselves and their extended family. In rural areas of Hausaland, where other forms of employment may be scarce, working with indigo provides not only financial stability, but also a sense of pride and cultural connection. "The indigo market is vital to us," explains Amina, a local trader who specializes in indigo-dyed clothing. "People come from all over to buy our fabrics. We don't just sell clothes, we sell our culture, our history. It's a piece of Hausaland that people take with them wherever they go." Indigo, like many traditional crafts, is deeply intertwined with the identity of Hausaland. The blue color has symbolic meaning. It represents not only beauty, but also the community's deep connection to the earth, the divine, and the cosmos. In Hausaland, it is believed that indigo has spiritual significance, representing purity and resilience. The wearing of indigo-dyed robes is an expression of cultural pride, a link to the past, and a way of maintaining a distinct identity in an ever-changing world. Culturally, the significance of indigo reaches beyond the marketplace. The fabric is worn during important life events, such as weddings, religious celebrations, and community gatherings. It is a marker of social status, with the richest hues of blue often worn by elders, rulers, and those of high status. Indigo also plays a role in various ceremonies, with textiles being offered as gifts or used to decorate homes and shrines. However, the impact of indigo dyeing extends beyond the local level. As global interest in sustainable fashion grows, Hausaland's indigo artisans are increasingly finding their way into international markets. The rise of eco-conscious fashion has led to a renewed appreciation for natural dyes, and indigo, already revered for its organic origins, is quickly becoming a sought-after material in international fashion circles. Many Western designers are now collaborating with Kano's artisans to create high-end fashion collections featuring traditional indigo-dyed fabrics. These collaborations not only provide a market for Kano's textiles, but also help elevate the status of African craftsmanship on the global stage. The artisan's work is no longer confined to the local market. It has become a cultural export, representing African creativity, resilience, and sustainability. The demand for traditional indigo is growing worldwide, says Amina. It's wonderful because it means our work is being seen and appreciated beyond our borders. But it also means we need to ensure that the craft remains authentic. We don't want it to become just another fashion trend. It's a part of our heritage. Despite its growing popularity, the indigo industry still faces challenges. As Kano's artisans strive to meet international demand, they must also contend with the pressures of mass production and the encroachment of synthetic alternatives. The organic nature of indigo means that each piece is unique, but it also means that the process is labor-intensive and slow. In an age of fast fashion, where speed and efficiency are prized, maintaining the traditional methods of indigo dyeing can be difficult. Nevertheless, the cultural and economic impact of the indigo craft remains profound. For Kano and Hausaland, indigo dyeing is not just a way to make a living, it's a way of life, a heritage that ties the people to their past while propelling them into the future. For centuries, the art of indigo dyeing flourished in Hausaland, a timeless tradition passed down through generations. But in recent decades, this ancient craft has faced significant challenges. The forces of industrialization, globalization, and changing economic realities have led to a gradual decline in the number of artisans practicing the craft. Mass-produced synthetic dyes, cheaper alternatives, and the lure of modern careers have threatened the sustainability of indigo dyeing in Kano and beyond. At one time, the dye pits of Kano were bustling with activity, with artisans working in harmony to create fabric that would be shipped across the world. But today, many of the once thriving dye pits are quiet, their vats empty, and the artisans who once filled these spaces are few and far between. Younger generations, drawn to the promise of modern education and more lucrative careers, have shown less interest in continuing the tradition. This shift has caused a profound concern within the community. Many of the older artisans who have spent their entire lives perfecting the craft fear that the knowledge of indigo dyeing could be lost forever if efforts to revitalize the craft are not made. "I fear for the future of our craft," says Muhammad, an elder artisan who has spent over 50 years working with indigo. The younger generation is not as interested in learning the craft as we once were. They want to work in offices, to drive cars, to live a modern life. Indigo dyeing is hard work, and it's not easy to make a living from it anymore. But despite these challenges, there is a growing movement in Hausaland to revive the indigo dyeing tradition. Various local and international organizations have stepped in, recognizing the cultural and economic value of indigo dyeing and the need to preserve it. In Kano, efforts are underway to attract younger people to the craft by showcasing the artistic potential of indigo, as well as its sustainable and eco-friendly qualities. Several initiatives have been launched to provide training to the youth, blending traditional techniques with modern methods to make the craft more appealing to a new generation. These programs not only teach the techniques of indigo dyeing, but also emphasize its relevance in today's global fashion market, where sustainable and organic products are in high demand. There's a new energy around indigo, says Amina, a young artisan and advocate for the craft. We're teaching the younger generation that this is more than just an old tradition. It's a craft that has a future. By combining traditional methods with modern design, we can create something new, something that speaks to both the past and the future. In addition to local efforts, there are partnerships with global fashion designers who are looking for traditional hand-dyed textiles to feature in their collections. These collaborations not only provide a new market for indigo products, but also help increase awareness of the craft's significance and ensure that the artisans who create them are compensated fairly. By working with global designers, we can help revitalize the industry, says Ibrahim, an indigo artisan in Kano. This partnership shows that our work is valued on a global scale. It's proof that the craft is not outdated, it's evolving. Environmental sustainability has also played a major role in the revival. As the fashion industry turns increasingly to eco-friendly and sustainable alternatives to synthetic dyes, the organic nature of indigo has made it a favorite among conscious consumers. Indigo dyeing, when done traditionally, has minimal environmental impact and uses fewer resources than many modern dyeing processes. For younger artisans, this makes the craft not only a cultural pursuit, but also an environmentally responsible one. Indigo is sustainable, says Amina. It's not just about preserving a tradition. It's about building a future where we can respect the environment, honor our ancestors, and still make a living. While there is much work to be done, the revival of indigo dyeing in Kano is well underway. The future of this craft lies in the hands of those who are willing to adapt it for modern markets while staying true to its roots. The fusion of tradition and innovation is the key to ensuring that indigo continues to be a cornerstone of Hausaland's cultural and economic identity. As the world grows more conscious of its environmental footprint, the fashion industry in particular is under increasing pressure to adopt sustainable practices. In this context, indigo dyeing is experiencing a renaissance, not just because of its beauty and cultural significance, but because it offers a far more eco-friendly alternative to synthetic dyes. In a world dominated by mass-produced, chemically intensive textiles, the traditional indigo dyeing process stands out as a beacon of sustainability. Unlike synthetic dyes, which are often made from petroleum-based chemicals and require large amounts of water and energy to produce, indigo is derived from a natural plant. The dyeing process, when done traditionally, uses minimal water and energy, making it significantly less harmful to the environment. Additionally, indigo plants are known for their ability to grow in arid regions with minimal water, further enhancing the eco-credentials of the craft. The revival of indigo dyeing in Hausaland is not just about preserving a cultural heritage. It is also about contributing to a more sustainable fashion industry. As global consumers increasingly demand eco-friendly alternatives to fast fashion, the demand for naturally dyed textiles is growing. Organic indigo, with its minimal environmental impact, is positioned to become a key player in the future of sustainable fashion. I've always been fascinated by the idea of using traditional materials in contemporary design, says Sarah, a designer based in London who works closely with Kano's indigo artisans. The world is turning towards sustainability, and indigo fits perfectly with that shift. It's a product that comes from the earth, and it carries that story with it. When you wear indigo, you're wearing something that's not just beautiful, It's also part of a sustainable future. The use of indigo in sustainable fashion also extends beyond its environmental impact. Because each piece of indigo-dyed fabric is unique, it creates a level of artistry and individuality that mass-produced textiles simply cannot match. The slow, labor-intensive nature of the dyeing process means that each piece of fabric is crafted with care, imbued with the artistry of the artisan, and represents a conscious choice in the consumer's wardrobe. For many artisans in Kano, this return to sustainability is not a new concept, but a return to their roots. Traditional indigo dyeing has always been a naturally sustainable practice, long before the term sustainability became a global buzzword. The respect for nature and the use of locally sourced materials are key tenets of the craft. We've been using sustainable methods for centuries, says Ibrahim. Indigo is grown without heavy use of pesticides, and the dyeing process uses very little water. We've been living in harmony with the environment long before sustainability was a trend. What we're doing now is just ensuring that the world understands the value of what we do. Beyond fashion, the resurgence of indigo as a sustainable dye is also having an impact on the broader textile industry. More and more brands are turning to indigo as a way to differentiate themselves in a crowded market that is increasingly driven by consumer demand for ethical and sustainable products. In some cases, artisans in Kano are collaborating with textile manufacturers in Europe, Asia, and the US to produce eco-friendly indigo-dyed fabrics for high-end products. This international collaboration is giving indigo the attention it deserves, while also ensuring that the artisans in Kano are compensated fairly for their work. For the artisans, this means not just a market for their goods, but also an opportunity to ensure the continuity of their craft. But sustainability doesn't end with the fabric itself. In Hausaland, the entire indigo dyeing process is designed with resource conservation in mind. The waste from the dyeing process is minimal, and many artisans find ways to reuse or repurpose leftover materials. The dye vats, which are often used for years, are carefully maintained to ensure their longevity. In some areas, artisans are experimenting with new techniques to make the process even more environmentally friendly, such as using rainwater to fill the dye vats instead of relying on groundwater. As global interest in sustainability continues to grow, Hausaland's indigo artisans find themselves at the forefront of a movement toward more conscious, eco-friendly fashion. Through their efforts, they are not only preserving an ancient tradition, but also contributing to the broader global conversation about the future of fashion and sustainability. Indigo is not just a color, it's a symbol of a sustainable future where ancient wisdom meets modern innovation. The artisans of Hausaland are proving that the beauty of the past can be harnessed to create a better, more sustainable tomorrow. As the sun sets over the desert horizon, casting a warm, golden light over the markets of Kano, it's clear that indigo dyeing is far more than just an ancient craft. It's a living, breathing testament to the enduring spirit of Hausaland. The tradition of indigo, from its origins in the fields of northern Nigeria to the bustling marketplaces and the sacred dye pits, represents a unique cultural heritage that has withstood the test of time. For centuries, indigo has been woven into the very fabric of Hausa life. It has symbolized wealth, status, and beauty, but it also carries deeper meaning, a connection to the earth, the ancestors, and the cycles of nature. In the hands of artisans, indigo becomes something more than just a color. It becomes a story, a symbol of resilience, creativity, and the power of tradition. Today, as the world rapidly changes, the future of indigo dyeing is at a crossroads. The craft faces challenges, but it also has incredible potential. The artisans of Kano are finding new ways to preserve their traditions, integrating indigo into the global fashion movement while ensuring that it remains true to its roots. The revival of this craft is not just about bringing an ancient practice back to life. It's about ensuring that it thrives in the modern world. The collaboration between the artisans of Kano and the global fashion industry represents an exciting opportunity to celebrate the intersection of tradition and innovation. These collaborations have allowed Indigo to transcend borders, carrying with it a message of sustainability, cultural pride, and the enduring value of handcrafted artistry. But beyond the marketplace and the fashion industry, Indigo has a deeper role to play in the future. Its eco-friendly properties, its sustainable production methods, and its symbolic connection to nature position Indigo as a beacon for the future of fashion. In a world where environmental concerns are at the forefront, Indigo represents a return to a simpler, more harmonious way of creating beautiful things without compromising the planet's well-being. The future of Indigo lies in the hands of the next generation, young artisans like Amina and Ali, who are reimagining the craft while honoring the traditions of their ancestors. By embracing both the heritage and the possibilities of the modern world, they are ensuring that Indigo continues to be a vibrant part of Hausaland's cultural identity for generations to come. As the artisans of Kano continue their work in the sacred dye pits, as the indigo-dyed fabric travels across the globe, and as the world embraces more sustainable practices, the legacy of Indigo will live on. The magic of Indigo, with its rich history and its vibrant future, is a reminder that the past is never truly gone. It lives on in the hands of those who choose to carry it forward. In Hausaland, the tradition of indigo dyeing is not just a craft. It is a story that continues to be written, one piece of fabric at a time. The indigo dyeing tradition of Hausaland is more than just a piece of history. It is a living, evolving art form that carries with it deep cultural significance. As the world moves forward, the artisans of Kano are proving that the beauty of the past can shape a sustainable, vibrant future. Indulging in the magic of indigo is not just about admiring its color, but embracing the profound connection it fosters with the earth, tradition, and humanity.